So let us discuss this, the lifespan perspectives. The word perspectives simply means a way of looking at things. No? The word perspectives simply means a point of view. No? Way of looking at something. And in terms of perspectives, we are given several about development. The first of which is that development is a lifelong process. At the beginning of this lecture, I emphasized that development does not need, or that it does not end, it does not end when we reach adulthood. Even if we have already reached adulthood, we still continue to develop. Yes, we may have stopped growing physically. We may no longer be gaining height. We may no longer be gaining weight. We have stopped growing physically. But we are still learning new knowledge. We are still gaining new understandings about people, about the things around us, about the world, about life in general. So development still goes on, even if physical growth has already stopped. Development continues until we die. Lifelong So as long as there is life in us, development is still taking place. No? Even people at the very last moment of their life, can still learn something. No? So that's still development. So development, as already mentioned, continues even after the age of maturity or adulthood. We may stop growing physically, but our relationships with family, with friends, with co-workers may still be flourishing. We may be learning or finding out new things about people. We may even learn or earn new friends in old age. Diba? It's still part of development. So, as already said, it's a lifelong process. So, yung mga magiging estudyante nyo, no, yung mga estudyante natin, medyo malayo-layo pa yung kanilang lalakbayin in terms of development. Okay. Development is multidirectional. That is our second perspective. Development occurs or takes place simultaneously, meaning it takes place, it happens at the same time in two or more aspects of a person's personality. Say for example, while a child is learning to walk, he may also be learning how to socialize with other children or with other members of the family. Diba? Or, yung pinaka-common, while a child is learning how to walk, he is also learning to talk at the same time. While the child is making his first few steps, he is also uttering his first syllables. Diba? So development in one aspect and another development or development in another aspect. So dalawa na kaagad na magkasabay yon. So ganun po yon. Development is multidirectional. It does not happen one by one. Na matututo mo ng magsalita, and then after a while, he will learn how to talk. After a while, he will learn how to socialize. It does not happen that way. This developmental tasks can be learned simultaneously by the child, meaning he can learn these tasks at the same time. On the other hand, development may also involve both gain and loss. While gaining or learning something in one aspect of his personality or one ability, while learning one ability, he is losing another. Natututo sa isang aspeto, nawawala naman yung isa. Okay, halimbawa ay ganito, no? In his early childhood years, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, a child is very good at fanciful or imaginative thinking. He is very good at make-believe games. He can pretend to be anything or to be anybody he wants. And he can create an imaginary world for himself and for his playmates. So that's a skill for children or among children, no? Imaginative or fanciful thinking. However, as he progresses in learning, as he progresses in school, and as he makes use more of logical thinking, as he learns in the different areas of study in school, he will gradually lose that imaginative thinking. Kasi doon na siya magpo-focus sa logical thinking or logical reasoning. So he will gain skills there while at the same time losing his ability to engage in fanciful or imaginative thinking. And that is the reason why, as we grow up, we stopped believing imaginary characters such as those that we encountered in fairy tales. When we were little kids, we thought that Cinderella, Jack, yung may beanstalk ba, sina Rapunzel, were real people. In our minds, they were real people. Kasi magaling nga tayo sa imaginative thinking eh. But when we grew up and learned more and studied more, we found out that they are imaginary or mythical persons, meaning they did not exist in reality. So yun, nawala yung ating imaginative thinking and it was replaced by logical thinking or reasoning. So yun yun. Another one is development is characterized by lifelong plasticity. Plasticity simply means our capacity to change in response to positive and negative experiences. In plain and simple language, plasticity is simply our ability to adjust or to adapt to an outside situation, to a situation, to a condition or to an experience. No? Our ability to adjust or adapt. As our response to experiences, whether it's a positive experience or a negative experience. And because development is lifelong, our need to adapt is also lifelong. As long as we are alive, there will always be a need to adjust or to adapt. When we left home and entered elementary, we needed to adjust, we needed to adapt. We needed to adapt to our classmates who came from different backgrounds. who had different personalities. We needed to adapt to our teachers. We needed to adapt to new situations or experiences in school. When we proceeded to high school, the same thing, we needed to adjust. Because high school presented a new set of experiences, a new set of challenges, a new set of problems. There we met another what do you call this? Group of people, such as our classmates, our teachers. So iba namang challenges doon. Ganun ulit, mag-a-adjust ulit, mag-a-adapt. Sa college, ganun din. We adapted again to the new challenges of college life. Nung makagraduate at makapagtrabaho, another adjustment. Adjustment sa co-worker, adjustment sa mga superiors, sa mga boss na stricto, ganun. No, meron ding mga mababait. Adjustment pa rin. So that's plasticity. Imagine the kind of adjustment, imagine the kind of adapting that our learners have to do. They are surrounded with changes, with challenges all the time. In school, at home, or even in the community. Imagine the kind of adjustment, imagine the kind of coping up that they need to do in order to thrive. See? Let us assist them, let us help them, let us equip them with knowledge and skills to enable them to adjust well to these challenges of everyday life. That's part of our job as teachers, no? Okay, development is shaped by its historical and cultural context. At the beginning of this lecture video, I emphasized that development is influenced. It is shaped, it is determined by many factors, including biological factors, historical and cultural factors or cultural context. This can be very easily seen in our culture, no? Among Filipinos. Say for example, ano ba yung mga kultura natin? Say for example, you are the eldest child in the family. There is an added pressure on you in terms of studies because you are the eldest. Why is that? Because in our culture, the eldest child has that responsibility to study well, get a job, and help the parents support the studies of the next child. O, diba? I don't know if you have that in your family. No? Sa amin, dalawa lang kaming magkapatid and my parents did not pressure me to support the studies of my sister. It was voluntary on my part. No? Dalawa lang kaming magkapatid kasi. But in other families, halimbawa, marami yung anak, mga 5 or 6. That is what I noticed, no? There is an added pressure on the eldest child. Especially if the parents are not rich, no? Hindi naman mga milyonaryo. Ordinary family, katulad ng karamihan sa atin. Parang may added pressure doon sa pinaka-eldest, no? Although parents do not always tell that to the eldest child, no? Anak, mag-aral ka mabuti kasi tulungan mo kami magpaaral sa kapatid mo. Parang it's kind of implied, no? It's kind of understood based on our culture. So, may epekto yun sa kanyang pag-aaral, which in turn will affect his or her learning. Yun ang mga ating history ay ganun din. It influences development of children. Yung ating culture, our culture, to a great extent is affected or influenced by our history. Bakit may mga sabong sa ating kultura? Kasi dahil sa ating kasaysayan, it was brought to us by the Spaniards. Anong connection nun sa edukasyon? Well, some children are hooked on vices which sometimes can include cockfighting. Oh, no, 'di ba? May mga online sabong ngayon. Sa halip na pang-tuition ng bata ay ginamit o pinusta sa online sabong. Natalo. Nga, hindi na nakapag-aral. Okay. Development is influenced by many factors. This is just similar to number 5, no? Development is influenced by many factors, and some of those already mentioned include biological factors, hereditary factors. Ito nga, historical and cultural factors or cultural context. Halos magkapareho lang yan. And then the last one is understanding development requires multiple disciplines. Ito pong disciplines, this means area of study. A discipline is an area of study. So for example, mathematics is a discipline. Science is a discipline. Education is a discipline. No? English or language, mga disciplines po yan. Because development is a complex process, it requires multiple disciplines. We need at least the basic knowledge of psychology, biology, social sciences in order to understand development. No? It requires multiple disciplines. And in the course of this study, in the course of our subject, no, until the end of cluster 1, we will draw on our knowledge of these different disciplines in order for us to understand the concept of development. Again, the whole point is for us to become effective teachers. Bakit tayo magiging effective? Because we know and understand the nature of our learners, specifically the different stages of development that they go through. Ngayon, kung alam natin yung nature ng learner, anong importance niya? The importance, the value of knowing that is we will be able to design, we will be able to prepare, we will be able to plan instructional materials, instructional approaches and strategies, instructional activities and experiences that are tailored to the needs, abilities, and interests and experiences of our learners. Kasi nga alam natin yung kanilang nature. Yun po ang pinaka-point doon. Okay, let us proceed. At this point, now we are going to talk about the basic issues in human development. Let's start with the assumptions about human nature. Assumptions are what we think of things in advance, no? Assumptions. Halimbawa, nakakita tayo ng babae, buntis. Our assumption is, yung babae may asawa, no? Ang ibig sabihin ng assumption, we think of it in advance without necessarily checking whether that woman is really married. Because a woman can be pregnant and not be married. Pero yun ang assumption natin. Sa example natin, no? Yun ang ating iniisip agad. Yan. Assumptions. When we assume something, we have that kind of thinking in our mind. So these are the most common assumptions about human nature. This is one of the basic issues in human development. Okay. So first, assumption. The assumption that people have what we call original sin. And this is given to us by Thomas Hobbes. He believed that children are inherently selfish and bad. That is the belief of Thomas Hobbes. children are inherently, children are naturally and automatically selfish and bad at birth. Kapapanganak pa lang ay selfish na siya kaagad at bad, according to Thomas Hobbes. And the role of society, specifically the home and the school, the role of these two institutions is to control their selfish and aggressive impulses. It is our role to teach them to behave properly, to behave in positive ways. That was the belief of Thomas Hobbes, which he called the original sin. No? Yan. Isa yan sa mga assumptions about human nature. Another one is from Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Sa iba ito ay Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Kasi French, no? Pag French yata, ang basat dyan ay Jean. So kung gusto nyo magtunog French, you say Jean-Jacques Rousseau. According to Rousseau, children are innately good. So it's the opposite of the philosophy or belief of Thomas Hobbes. According to Hobbes, children are inherently selfish and bad. According to Rousseau, children are inherently good. Pagka panganak, automatic na mabuti ka agad. Rousseau believed that children have that basic understanding of what is right and wrong. Automatic daw po yun sa bata, sa individual at birth. And it is further developed as he grows older. So in the process of development, that knowledge of right and wrong, good and bad, will be enhanced and reinforced. According to Hobbes, the role of society is to control the aggressive behavior of children para yung kanilang pagiging selfish and bad ay mabago, no? Maging good sila. That's the role of society according to Hobbes. According to Rousseau, the role of society is to keep these children innately good. Sabi pa nga ni Rousseau, if the society will not interfere too much with the child, he will grow up a good person. Kasi dati na siyang good eh. Sometimes it's the society that makes a child bad, no? So baliktad yung kanilang beliefs or philosophies. Teka, ay nasaan sir dyan ngayon ang tama? Sabi ni Hobbes, children are inherently selfish and bad. Sabi naman ni Rousseau, children are innately good. Saan sa kanila ang tama? Well, let's go back to the title of the topic, Basic Issues in Human Development. Kaya nga po siya tinawag na issues because these things have not yet been resolved. Ano ba talaga? Inherently selfish and bad or innately good? Nobody has decided or known for sure. Kaya nga siya tinawag na issues eh. It has not yet been resolved. So what does this tell us about children? What is its value to us as teachers? Well, they are offering us perspectives. When you become teachers, you can either believe that children are selfish and bad inherently, or you can believe that children are innately good. It depends on your personal philosophies as persons. It depends on your professional philosophies as teachers. Alin dyan ang paniniwalaan mo? Bahala kang mamili. Kaya nga tinawag na issues yan because it has not yet been resolved. O ito pa, para lalong maging magulo. According to John Locke, children are neither good or bad at birth. Because at birth, children are a blank slate. Yun pang ibig sabihin ng tabula rasa, blank slate. Parang coupon band, walang nakasulat na kahit ano. Or tablet. Hindi ito yung tablet na gadget, kundi yung slab of rock. Yung bato, tulad ng ginamit ni Moises. Tulad pala ng ibinigay kay Moises. Tabula rasa, the mind of the child is blank at birth, like an empty page. And that empty page is waiting to be written on by his experiences. Pagkapakanak niya, ang isang bata ay blank page, blank slate. Blanko, walang nakasulat kahit ano, kahit isa, kahit tuldok, wala. Completely blank. As the child grows up, as the child goes through his different life experiences, nasusulat yun doon. They will all be written on that blank slate. So that blank slate will start to be filled with knowledge, with understanding, with experiences. Saan yun masusulat? Sa kanyang utak. Example lang natin yung coupon band, na ang kanyang isip at birth is like a coupon band on which nothing is written. Not even a period, not even a dot, not even a single symbol. Wala talaga, totally blank. So as he grows up, as he goes through his experiences as a person, that blank page will begin to fill up. Yun ang kanyang mind. Mapupuno ng information, malalagyan ng knowledge, malalagyan ng understandings, mga experiences, mga memories. Yan. They will all be written and retained in his mind, which will make up his personality, his memories, his knowledge. Neither good nor bad, they could develop in any direction depending on their own experiences. That's the belief of John Locke. Ang bata, hindi mabuti or masama at birth. Magiging masama lang siya or magiging mabuti lang siya later depending on the experiences he will have through life. Experiences that will be retained in his mind, which in turn will govern his behavior. So a child can become good or bad depending on his experiences as a person, experiences at home, experiences in school, in church, in the community. These experiences will shape him as a person. These experiences will determine his character, whether he is good or bad, moral or immoral or amoral. This will all depend on his experiences as a person. So yan po, assumptions about human nature. Thomas Hobbes believes that children are inherently selfish and bad, and the role of the society is to control this selfish behavior, to check. According to Rousseau, children are innately good, and the role of the society is to maintain that goodness in the individual and interfere as little as possible so that children can retain in them that innate goodness. According to John Locke, the infant is neither good nor bad. Hindi masama, hindi rin mabuti. That will develop later, that will come out later. That kind of character will emerge later as they go through their experiences in life. At birth, a child is tabula rasa. His mind is completely blank. He is like a blank slate. He He is like a blank page. Later, as he grows up, that blank page will be filled with writings. Yun po ang ating analogy. Yung writings na yon will come in the form of information, knowledge, experiences, understandings. So yun po, assumptions about human nature. Here's another issue. No? Remember, class, we're talking about the basic issues. No? Nature and nurture. Here's another one. When we speak of nature, especially in relation to development, this refers to behavior and characteristics manifested because of the influence of biological forces, like heredity and biologically based dispositions. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng nature. Yung behavior and characteristics that are within us, the potentials that are within us at birth. Nandito kaagad siya sa atin kasi nga namana sa ating parents. And this behaviors and characteristics do not always manifest themselves physically. Ang namamana naman natin, hindi lang yung physical characteristics eh. Matangkad yung tatay, matangkad ang anak. Singkit yung nanay, singkit ang anak. Maputi yung nanay, maputi ang anak. Hindi lang ganon. Usually, we also inherit potentials. Halimbawa, the father is an excellent musician. In all probability, magkakaroon siya ng anak na magaling sa music. Hindi yun physical, no? Halimbawa, yung tatay ay may ganitong temperament na magagalitin, baltikon. In all probability, he will have at least one child with the same disposition. Magagalitin din, baltikon. Diliray ko no kalaong anak ni Atanasio, diba? Example lang yun, ha? Baka mayroon kayong parents or kilalang Atanasio. Example lang. Bang isog ko nung anak kala, palibhasa ko no, maana sa eda tatay na bang isog ra. These are all examples of behavior and characteristics that are automatically or innately or inherently within us at birth, because we have inherited such characteristics from our parents. Nature yan. Yun naman nurture, the influences brought about by exposure to the environment. Yan. This environment includes learning experiences, child rearing methods. Paano ka bang pinalaki ng iyong magulang? No? Societal changes and culture. These are all covered or included in the term nurture. Influences brought about by the environment. So the question here is, what really determines a person's personality or character? Is it nature or nurture? A person is, halimbawa, a person is intelligent. What is the cause of that intelligence? Did he inherit that intelligence from parents? Meaning, he is intelligent because he inherited that from parents? Or he is intelligent because he is exposed to a conducive environment? Meaning, an environment that promotes or is favorable to the development of intelligence. Halimbawa, he grows up in a home with complete facilities. May mga television, may internet, there are books available at home. So yun ba ang naging dahilan kaya siya ay intelligent? Nakikita niya sa TV, nakikita sa internet, nababasa sa libro. So, marami siyang alam. So, this person is intelligent because of what? Because of the intelligence he inherited from his parents? Or because of the available materials around him in his environment? Ano ba talaga? Nature or nurture? Well, as already mentioned, this is an issue. That is why, until now, it is unresolved. No? But if we are going to go back to our previous discussion regarding development being influenced by many factors, we will probably come to an agreement if we recognize the role of each of these. We do not have to be exclusive na nature lang or nurture lang. Why can we not put them together? A person is intelligent because of the character traits, because of the intelligence he has inherited from his parents. And that intelligence is enhanced or reinforced by a conducive environment. He has all the advantages at home. He has the source of information that can reinforce or enhance his intelligence. O di nagkatulong ngayon, no? Yung nature at saka nurture. He has an inherent intelligence because of that character he inherited from his parents. At the same time, that innate, that natural intelligence is reinforced and enhanced by a favorable environment. So nature and nurture both contributed to the development of his intelligence. No? Ganon yun. That's one way of looking at it. No? Sabi nga natin kanina, these are issues and they have not yet been resolved with finality. So we can make our own suggestions as to how we can resolve these issues. And what I see here is that nature alone cannot make a person let me rephrase that. Nature alone cannot determine the character of a person, because the environment undoubtedly also exerts a very strong influence on the development of the individual. So nature alone cannot determine the character of a person. In the same way that nurture alone or environment alone cannot determine the character of a person. Because no matter how you expose an individual to books, to information, to television, to the internet, if he does not have that basic intelligence to understand and process this information, it will all be useless. Kahit tambakan ka ng isang buong libraryng libro, if you do not know how to read, if you do not know how to process information, those books are all useless. So nature and nurture work together towards the development of a person's character. That's one way of looking at it now. Okay, let us proceed. Okay, here's another issue. Activity and passivity. The question is, do people take active participation in their development? Do they have a certain degree of control over their own development? Or they are simply products of everything that happens inside and outside them? Is a person merely a product of environmental forces? Or a person has some degree of control some degree of power over his own development. That's the issue. So there are two schools of thought here. The first one is activity. The second one is passivity. To those who espouse activity, they believe that children are naturally curious. They are active creatures, and they orchestrate their own development. Meaning, it is they who decide how, where, what, when they are going to develop. How do they do that? Based on their experiences as they explore the world around them. So in that case, the process of development lies in the hands of the person. He has control. He directs his own development. That's the activity theory. The opposite of that is passivity. Meaning, this theory believes that human beings are passive beings. Passive meaning we just observe the things that go on or happen or take place around us. We just accept the changes that occur or take place in us as the effect of our environment, as the effect of our experiences. We do not have any control, we do not have any power, we do not have any ability to direct our own development. We are simply the product of the different forces around us. That is the issue. How does development occur? Through the control, through the direction, through the determination of the individual, or through the influence of the environment and the different forces that shape the individual, such as biological forces. Alin dyan sa dalawa? Tulad nga ng sabi natin kanina, these are issues. So, maybe we can resolve this by proposing that certain aspects of development can be subjected under the control of the individual. Say, for example, development of intelligence. We can enhance our own intelligence through our own volition, through our own agency, through our own effort. We read, we study, we research. Through that, we can increase our knowledge and our intelligence. No? We can develop our intelligence further. So in that sense, we have a certain degree of control over the way we develop. Yun namang ibang aspects of development ay hindi talaga natin makokontrol. Halimbawa, our physical appearance. Do we have any control over that? Ipinanganak kang matangkad kasi matangkad ang tatay mo. Or ipinanganak kang pandak kasi pandak ang parents. Can you control that? Can you change that? Gagawin mong matangkad ang sarili mo? Siguro artificially you can do it, no? Magsuot ka ng sapatos na ang heels ay 1 foot. Bahala ka magpanimbang. We do not have control over that. So, maybe we can resolve this by saying that certain aspects of development can be explained by activity theory, and some other aspects can be explained by the passivity theory. Ganyan lang yung issue na yan. It can be resolved that way. Okay. Here's another issue. Continuity and discontinuity. Okay. Let us see what this is all about. Discontinuity theorists picture the course of development as more like a series of stair steps, each of which elevates the individual to a new and presumably more advanced level of functioning. This continuity theorists present development as a step-by-step process, meaning one step ends, one step or one stage starts, it ends, and then the next stage starts, and then it ends. The next step or stage starts, and then it ends. Parang hagdan, step by step development. That's the discontinuity theorists. On the other hand, continuity theorists view human development as a process that occurs in small steps without sudden changes. According to them, development is a continuous process without any identifiable demarcation lines. Meaning there is, the different stages fuse into one another seamlessly. The different stages fuse into one another smoothly, so that we can hardly see where one stage ends and the next starts. Parang yung kanina, do you still remember what I said about the different age brackets for each stage of development? Diba kanina sa ating early childhood, mayroon tayong sa infancy, 0 to 2 years. Tapos, early childhood, 2 years to 6 years old. Late childhood, 6 years old to 12 years old. Then adolescence period, something like 12 to 19. Para bang ganon? Ganon ang discontinuity theorists ang paniniwala. Step by step, parang hagdan. One stage starts here, it ends here, and then after that, the next stage begins, and then it stops here, and so on and so forth. Discontinuity theory yon. Yung continuity theory, you cannot identify the exact stage or even the age where a developmental stage begins and ends, and the next. Nagfufuse sila, meaning it's a long, continuous process. Hindi mo ma-pinpoint kung saang edad talaga tumitigil. Halimbawa, yung childhood stage, early childhood stage. Hindi siya sa eksaktong ganitong edad mag-umpisa, hindi rin sa ganitong eksaktong edad matatapos. It's very vague, no? As already mentioned, based on this theory, the different stages of development fuse into one another in a very smooth and seamless fashion, so that we cannot determine the exact demarcation lines. Yun po ang continuity and discontinuity theory. So again, which one do we adopt as our philosophy? Which one do we believe? Going back to our discussion, these are issues, no? So, kaya natin pinipresent so that we ourselves can find ways to resolve them in our minds. Kanya-kanya tayong resolve nito. Based on our learning, based on our studies, based on our readings, based on our experiences. O kayo, ano ang napansin ninyo sa mga bata? Continuous pa ba or discontinuous yung kanilang development? Your answer to your own question will give you your own resolution to these issues. Yun po, yun. To help us understand more the concepts of continuity and discontinuity, let us talk about quantitative changes. In development, no? When we speak of quantitative changes, these are changes that occur in degree. Meaning these are changes that can be quantified. These are changes that can be expressed in numbers. Meaning these are changes that can be measured to some degree. A very good example of this kind of changes, this kind of change is when a person becomes taller, no? So when a person becomes taller, we can say it is quantitative because it can be measured, it can be expressed in numbers. Halimbawa, dating 5'1", naging 5'5", or naging 6-footer. You see? It can be expressed in numbers. The same thing with vocabulary words. Dati ang alam niyang vocabulary words ay 100 lang. Dinatuto siya ng 20 more words, 120 na ngayon. So quantitative changes po yan lahat. Or the frequency with which he interacts with friends. Dati siya, kung lumabas ng bahay, once a week. Ngayon, 2 times a week na. Later, 3 times a week na. Then later, hindi na siya umuwi. Doon na lang siya. What I mean is, this can all be expressed in numbers. Kaya nga sila ay tinawag na quantitative changes. From the word quantity, dami, number. Yeah. This kind of changes indicate continuity in development. Yeah. Iba naman itong qualitative changes. This occurs in kind and suggests discontinuity. So these are changes that are difficult to measure. These are changes that can hardly be expressed in numbers. Example, a non-verbal infant becomes a speaking toddler. How do we measure that? Or a prepubertal child into a sexually mature adolescent. How do we measure that? We cannot, no? So qualitative changes are changes that make the person or the individual different in some way than he or she was before. Naiiba siya kesa doon sa karakter niya, sa pagiging siya before. Unlike quantitative changes, mayroong pagbabago in terms of quantity, in terms of measurement. The character is still the same. Halimbawa, height, 4 feet, naging 5 feet. Nag-iba lang in terms of measurement, but the character is the same. Height, meron siyang height. Dati lang siya ay mababa, ay tumangkad later. So, that's quantitative change. Dito naman, sa qualitative changes, we cannot measure the change. A non-verbal infant, yung isang batang hindi nagsasalita, then later nagsasalitang toddler. How do we measure that? What are we going to measure? The number of words he can speak? Ay, hindi yung development ang ating mini-measure doon, kundi the number of words he can speak. Or a prepubertal child into a sexually mature adolescent. How do we measure that? Quantitatively. So there is change in quality, there is change in can we call it ability? Yeah, ability, no? Speaking is an ability. It's a skill. So there is increase in ability or skill, but it can hardly be quantified. It can hardly be measured. It can hardly be expressed in numbers. So, qualitative changes yung mga ganyan. Qualitative changes suggest discontinuity. Suggest lang naman. Di naman sinabing automatic na totoo na talaga siya. These are just insights that psychologists, educators, and thinkers offer to us in order for us to understand these issues better. Okay. So, yun po yun. Quantitative changes, qualitative changes. Quantitative changes tend to indicate continuity. Qualitative changes tend to indicate or suggest discontinuity. Okay. The last issue regarding development, basic issue, universality and context specificity. Okay. Universality, it's from the word universal, no? And when we say universal, it means general. It is true, it applies to everybody, everywhere, at all times. Yeah. Universal. Yun namang context specific, it occurs only in certain contexts. It occurs only in certain situations. It occurs only in a certain condition. So, the issue here is universality and context specificity. The extent to which developmental changes are common to everyone. So the question here is, are developmental changes common to everyone, or developmental changes vary from person to person? Are developmental changes universal or context specific? How do we answer that? Based from the discussions that we have already had, how do we answer that? Is development universal or context specific? Well, I think it is universal in the sense that everyone goes through the same stages of development as all other people. Alala niyo yung sinabi ko kanina? Regardless of culture, regardless of historical circumstances, regardless of economic or social background, people develop in the same order or sequence. Prenatal, early childhood, late childhood, adolescent period or adolescence, adulthood, middle age, then yung pinaka-last, late adulthood yata yun, old age, old age. So everybody follows the same pattern, regardless of culture, history, regardless of social or economic background, regardless of race, regardless of skin color. We follow the same pattern. Walang tao na early childhood, diretso ka agad sa old age, babalik sa adolescence, balik na naman sa... Walang ganon. Hindi tayo kapareho ni yung movie Benjamin, yung kay Brad Pitt, Benjamin Button. Did I get it correct? The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I am not sure if I remember the title of the movie correctly, but it's a movie about a person who starts in life as an old man, and then he retrogresses. Pabalik or paatras yung kanyang pag-grow. Sa halip na from being young, going to becoming old, He started an old man and proceeded to becoming young. Ganon yun. Ay, hindi naman ganon ang natural na proseso ng development, no? So in that sense, where we follow the same sequence or the same order of development, and we go through the same stages, in that sense, development is universal, no? However, considering the influence of culture, considering the influence of history, or even your geographical location, development can vary from person to person, from race to race. That is why there are people who have black skin, there are people who have white skin, there are people who have brown skin, mayroong yellow, yellow. Because of the influence of their environment. Siyempre kung excuse me. Siyempre if you are born in a very hot country, or if you are born in a country with a very hot climate, naturally you will have black complexion. You will have black skin. Just like the people in Africa. Pero bakit yung sa Middle East, no? Hindi naman mga maitim, no? Mainit din doon. Maybe it's because of their munti ko nang sabihin breed, parang aso. Their genes, no? Depending on their race, lahi nila as people, race. So ganun yun. In some respects, in some aspects, no, development is universal. However, there are certain aspects of development that we can also call context specific. Halimbawa, yung mga Asians. Generally, Asians are smaller than, say, Americans, no? Kultura natin yun bilang lahi, mga Asians. It's what I call this. It's part of our natural constitution, yung ating pagiging mga maliit na tao. Pag sa Filipino, mag 6 feet ka ay matangkad ka na, no? In the US, that is, I think that's the average height, no? Parang parang average lang yan sa kanila. Sa atin, yung mga 5'8", 5'9", matangkad na ang tawag natin. To them, that's, ayun, average pa rin. No? Sa kanila, in order to be called tall, ay kailangan ikaw ay mga 6'4", 6'5". Dito sa atin, ay pa na yun. Sikat ng basketballista na yun. Okay. So regarding the issue of universality and context specificity, I think I have emphasized enough that certain aspects of development can be said to be universal and other aspects are context specific. No? That is one way of resolving this particular issue. Okay. So to summarize and to review what we have already discussed, the basic issues in human development revolves around the following. First, assumptions about human nature. Then we have nature and nurture, activity and passivity, continuity and discontinuity, universality and context specificity. Okay. These are the assumptions about human nature that we have just discussed. Okay, let us proceed. Let us talk about this topic, no? Developmental milestones. Developmental milestones refer to abilities children achieve by a certain age. In every stage of development, there are certain skills or abilities that a child should be able to manifest, show, or display, or do, or perform. We also call this developmental tasks. These milestones or developmental milestones can involve physical, social, emotional, cognitive, and communication skills. These developmental milestones, in other words, can manifest themselves in many forms. Halimbawa, sa physical aspect, at the age of 2, the child is already expected to be able to physically do certain things: walk, hold things, stand by himself or herself. No? That is a developmental task that he should be able to do at that particular age. As our text here says, a very good example of this will be speaking, learning their first words. Usually by the time they are 2 years old. Developmental task po yan na mga 2-year-old babies. It's a developmental milestone. It is expected that at the age of 2, a child should already be able to talk, say simple words, even simple expressions. These developmental milestones are indicators that the child is ready for the next phase or stage of his or her development. Developmental milestones serve to signal the readiness of the child for the next stage of development. If the child, biglang umulan, no? If the child is unable to perform or show certain developmental milestones, it may be an indication of stunted development. Halimbawa, at the age of 2, a child is still unable to talk or speak. Hindi siya nagsasalita kahit single syllables or even simple sounds. Hindi siya nagsasalita. There must be something wrong with the child. There must be something wrong with his or her development. How do we know that? Because speaking or talking, saying simple words, is a developmental milestone at the age of 2. It's a developmental task, meaning it is expected that he should be able to do it at that particular age. Because most children, if not all, no, basta normal lang ang development, no, can show, manifest, do, or perform such task. Kahit saan tayo pumunta at the age of 2, children or babies at the age of 2 can already speak or say simple words. Kasi developmental milestone na yun. It is expected that at that age, nagagawa niya yung task na yun. If this particular baby cannot do it, then it is an indication of a stunted development. Something must be wrong with her development or his development. Something must be wrong with the baby. 2 years old, hindi pa nagsasalita. Or 3 years old or 4 years old, something is wrong with the baby, with the child. No? Yun namang social and emotional skills, these are also developmental milestones. Halimbawa, 6 years old na, hindi pa rin marunong makipagkaibigan. Or he prefers to stay in one corner of the room. He prefers to stay in one corner of the house. He hides whenever somebody comes in. Abay, mayroong mali sa kanyang development. Because at that age, he is already expected to be socially capable. He already knows how to socialize. He already knows how to face people, talk to people, maybe even entertain them in some way. No? Ganon din sa emotional aspect ng ating development. Kapag tayo ay 35 years old na, and we are still as immature as a child, inagaw yung ating ballpen naglupasay tayo at umiyak sa lupa. Something is wrong with our emotional development. Para yun lang iiyak na. Oh. Di ba? Kung nag-away kayo ng jowa mo, pwedeng umiyak. Lalo na kung binato ka ng refrigerator, tinamaan ka sa mukha, iiyak ka talaga. Cognitive and communication skills. These things happen at certain stages. No? Yun ang tinatawag na developmental milestones. A milestone is a very important development, a very important point in development. Ganun ang ibig sabihin ng milestone. It's a very important point in a series of events. Yeah. Halimbawa, sa buhay ng tao, yung pag-graduate ng high school, it's a milestone. It's a very important point in his life. Pag-graduate ng college, that's another milestone. Pagkatrabaho, that's another milestone. Pagpapakasal, that's another milestone. Birth of your children, milestones yan. No. So, yun, developmental milestones can signal or indicate normal development, or it can also indicate stunted development, depending on the appearance or non-appearance of certain developmental tasks or developmental milestones. Now, speaking of developmental milestones, our next topic is about developmental milestones of children from infancy to adolescence. This topic requires a table. I will not present the table here. It's very difficult to include the table in our presentation. And I will not also discuss the entries, the contents of that table, because it's rather long to discuss. Mauubos po ang ating oras if I am going to discuss its entry, its bit of information in that table. What I did is, I attached, I uploaded the table into our GC together with our module, the PowerPoint presentation that I am using in this lecture video. I uploaded 2 files. One is the PowerPoint presentation, which is exactly identical to the PowerPoint presentation I'm using in this lecture video. The other file is the table of developmental milestones. So hindi na natin yun ipepresent dito. You will get the copy from our GC. Hindi ko na rin i-discuss because most of the content is self-explanatory. Ano ang nangyayari from 1 year to 2 years old, nandoon sa ating table. Please read that table and understand what it contains. You will see and understand the different developmental milestones in every stage of development from infancy to adolescence. I'm not sure if the table I found in the internet is up to adolescence period, parang hanggang 10 years old or anyway, tingnan nyo na lang doon sa table, nandoon yun, no? Hindi ko lang siya ma-memorize lahat-lahat. So that is what I did with the table regarding developmental milestones. Nandun siya sa ating GC, download the file, and make it part of your references, make it part of your materials. Basahin nyo yung table, nandun lahat ng mga developmental milestones for or of children. Yeah. Okay, let us proceed. Now, let us talk about the Filipino child and the adolescents. The Filipino child is the center of the Philippine educational system. What does that mean? The curriculum reforms, educational policies, and government programs are concentrated on ensuring the holistic development of children. My dear students, we often say that the Philippine educational system is child-centered. It is child-centered in the sense that the entire Philippine educational system exists for the purpose of developing the full potentials of the child to its fullest extent. Everything the government, in terms of policies, programs, budget, curriculum, everything the government does is for the benefit of the Filipino child. As we often say, the learner, the child, is the most important stakeholder in the educative process. The learner is the most important variable in the educative process. Everything in the educational system exists for the child. When we think of a curriculum, when we design a curriculum, the first and foremost consideration is the interest of the child. When we think of, when we prepare materials such as books, the first and foremost consideration is the learner. When we plan educational programs, the first and foremost consideration is the student. That is what is meant by child-centered educational system. And the Philippine educational system is a child-centered system. We consider the child, we consider the Filipino child as the most important element in the educative process, the most important stakeholder, the most important variable in the educative process. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, ito yung dating class, no? Ito yung dating NSO, National Statistics Office. Excuse me. Now it is called the Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA. And according to the PSA, in 2018, there were 32,155,793 Filipinos aged 0 to 14. Yan. Yung mga Pilipino na ang edad daw ay 0 hanggang 14 years old, kung bibilangin sila lahat, sila ay 32,155,793. Sila ay 31.8% of the total population of the Philippines that year. What does that mean? 31.8% of our population belongs to the child and adolescent group. 31.8%. Malapit na siyang mag 1/3. Imagine that number of people in that age group. Kasi yung 1/3 is 33.33%. Ay ito ay 31.8% na. So it's almost one-third of the total population of the Philippines. Marami sila, in other words. No? Marami sila. In terms of education, here is what PSA tells us. 96.5% belong to the simple literacy category, or people who can read and write. I think this refers to the entire Filipino population, no? Hindi lang yung 0 to 14. The entire Filipino population, 96.5% belong to the simple literacy category, or people who can read and write. Take note of the category, simple literacy category. This category includes people who can read and write simple words, simple sentences. They can write their names, they can vote. That's the basic requirement, no? Simple literacy category. Basta marunong lang siya magbasa, even in the simplest level. Yun, simple literacy category. Iba naman itong tinatawag na functionally literate level. Medyo mas higher ang level nito, because functional literacy does not simply require simple ability to read and write. The person, in order to be functionally literate, should be able to read and write, and at the same time have appropriate verbal skills or cognitive skills and computational skills to be able to do, perform, or accomplish practical tasks. Marunong siya magbasa, marunong sumulat, at nakakagawa siya ng mga practical na task, mga trabaho baga. Halimbawa, pagiging sekretary sa barangay, functionally literate. Kasi pwede ka namang maging literate, kasi marunong ka magbasa at magsulat, but if you are given a task, halimbawa, take down the minutes of a meeting, you cannot do it because your ability to read and write is not that proficient. Marunong lang magbasa, dog, cat, hen. Marunong magsulat, pangalan niya, ball, house. Literate na ang tawag sa kanya because he can read and write. That is called simple literacy category. Yung functional literacy category or level, able to read and write and perform practical tasks. Kaya nga bumaba na lang siya, 90.3% na lang ng ating population. Okay. In 2018, DepEd identified 1,737,313 enrollees for kindergarten. Kindergarten pa lang po yan, 1.7 million plus na. Yung sa public elementary schools, 11,151,040 enrollees. Public elementary schools. Sa public secondary schools, 6,010,937. Marami po yung mga batang yan. Milyon-milyon eh. Imagine this number. 1.7 million plus kindergarten alone. Public elementary schools, 11.1 million plus. Public secondary schools, 6.01 million plus. Ayan. So marami. What does this mean? There is a need for teachers. There is a need for more teachers to address the growing needs of Filipino children. Our population is increasing continuously. More and more children are coming into this world. And naturally, these children will enroll in the elementary, they will enroll in high school. What do they need? They need teachers. They will need you as future teachers. Their future teacher. And as a future teacher, you should hold the key, susi, to ensure that Filipino children will be functionally literate. Hindi lang basically literate, but functionally literate. Or better yet, to become professionals, to become teachers, to become engineers, to become doctors, nurses, medical technologists, lawyers, accountants. No? They will be better equipped to contribute in building our nation. I'm not saying that non-college graduates are not contributing to building our nation. No. Lahat ay may contribution. But if you are a professional, I think you are in a better position to contribute towards the development of our country. No. That is part of our job as teachers. To ensure that our children will grow up with the requisite knowledge, skills, competencies, and values to become productive and responsible members of our society, to become productive members of our communities. No? Not only to help their respective families, although that is a primary consideration. As a matter of fact, karamihan sa atin nag-aaral because of our families. No? But outside of that, no, we should equip our students, our learners, with the requisite knowledge, skills, and values and competencies, as I have said, in order for them to contribute towards the development of the community where they belong, and to our country, and to the rest of humanity as a whole. Para yung ating preparasyon ay hindi lang para sa ating sarili, hindi lang para sa sariling pamilya, kundi ihahanda din sila sa paglilingkod sa bayan at sa buong sangkatauhan. It's part of our job as teachers. No? Okay, our first lecture video ends here. I hope that I have shared something to you regarding this topic. I hope that you will download and watch this video as a supplement to the module that I have uploaded in our GC. No? So going back to that, no, i-download ninyo yung PowerPoint that will become your reference, that will become your material. If you want to print it and look at it as you watch this video, of course you can do that. No? Kung ayaw mo mag-print, save lang sa iyong cellphone or laptop, pwede rin. What's important is that you watch this video repeatedly if necessary. No? Kung hindi magets lahat sa isang panonood lang, then watch it again until you understand the different concepts, until you understand the different terminologies. And then i-download nyo rin yung table, no, yung developmental milestones which I have previously mentioned. One thing more that I would like to say to you, my dear students, the knowledge, the information that I am sharing to you is very limited. No? Gasino na lang ang makukuha nating information sa ganitong modality, no? Lecture video. We cannot even interact live. Although meron tayong discussion sa ating GC, that is still very limited. What I am trying to say here is that please enhance your own learning, increase your own learning of the different topics presented here by doing your own readings, by doing your own research. Dagdagan nyo po yung knowledge na nakukuha dito sa klase natin sa pamamagitan ng pagbabasa. All the information are in the internet. Kung tinatamad ka maghanap ng libro, i-google mo lang ng i-google lahat ng mga topics and you will learn a lot more about the different topics presented here. No? Tayo na lang ang magsikap na mapaunlad palalo yung ating learning, yung ating knowledge, to add to the information that we get here in our class by doing our own readings, by doing our own research. Kanya-kanyang effort na lang po tayo. Ganito po ang sitwasyon natin eh. Hindi tayo makapagklase ng formal, hindi tayo makapagklase ng face-to-face. This is the situation that we have right now. This is the situation we are in. Let's try to make the most of it. Let's try to make the most of what we have. Sariling sikap na lang po, ano? So, dito na lang muna tayo magtatapos. My dear students, of course, there are still topics to come. There are still modules to come. And there are still lecture videos to come. Okay, goodbye for now. Ingat po tayo lahat. Let us all stay safe. God bless everyone.